Dodge has just built the quickest accelerating production car ever. But that's not the only amazing car that's just been revealed.
Ferrari, BMW, Lamborghini, Kia, Ford and Volkswagen have all announced exciting new cars this last week. There are V8 convertibles, futuristic SUVs, electric cars and even a V12 powered hybrid supercar. And in this video I'm going to tell you everything you need to know about these new models, because I'm Matt Watson and you're watching CarWow. Buy, sell,
CarWow.
The standard Dodge Demon is an absolute beast of a car, but now there's a new 170 model that's just become one of the most powerful and quickest accelerating production cars ever made. It comes with an upgraded supercharger and loads of new engine components, so it now produces 1,025 horsepower and more than 1,280 newton meters of torque. In fact, the camshaft is the only significant piece of the 6.2 litre V8 that Dodge hasn't modified. The SRT Demon 170 also comes with lighter body panels, a stronger drive shaft and a beefier differential to help deal with all this power. And you also get special drag radial tyres and modified rear suspension to help it launch as quickly as possible. So how quick is it? Well, Dodge timed it on a drag strip and it did 0 to 60 miles an hour in an astonishing 1.66 seconds. That's quicker than a Tesla Model S Plaid or even a Rimac Nevera can accelerate. It launches so hard that it pulls more than 2G when it accelerates. That's the sort of performance you get from a McMurtry Spearling. And that's the quickest car I've ever driven. The Dodge isn't quite as quick as that car over a whole drag strip, but it still does a quarter mile in 8.91 seconds. That's about 0.7 seconds quicker than a Ferrari SF90 or a Bugatti Chiron can do. You probably think this new Dodge car will cost hundreds of thousands of pounds like other real supercars. Well, no. Dodge has confirmed it costs the equivalent of about £80,000. So you could buy 17 of these cars for the price of one Rimac Nevera.
Ferrari has just revealed this, the Roma Spider. It's a convertible soft-top version of the standard Roma Coupe. It's actually the first front-engine car with a soft top that Ferrari has made since 1969. But was it worth the wait? Well, it looks great, especially with the roof down. Speaking of which, Ferrari says you can raise and lower the roof in 13.5 seconds, and you can do it while you're driving at speeds of up to 37 miles per hour. And you'll want to lower it anytime you can, just to listen to that twin-turbo 3.9 litre V8 engine. It's exactly the same engine you get in the Roma Coupe, so it has 620 horsepower and 760 newton meters of torque. This means it'll blast the Spider from 0 to 60 miles an hour in 3.4 seconds, and it'll keep going until you hit 199 miles an hour. Why the heck couldn't they just get 1 mile an hour more out the car? Then it would do 200 miles an hour. Seems like a missed opportunity. Anyway, these stats are the same as the regular Coupe, which is pretty impressive because the new Spider weighs 84 kilograms more than that car. After all, you can't make a folding roof mechanism out of helium, can you? So it's bound to add a few extra kilos here and there, especially as a convertible requires some extra chassis bracing to make up for the structural rigidity lost by cutting off a car's roof. Anyway, there's another important area where you can bet the Spider will differ from the Coupe, and that's the price. Ferrari hasn't said how much the new convertible would cost, but you can bet it'll set you back more than the standard hardtop, and that costs from £170,000 before options, and obviously you'll have to fit some options. But what do you think? Is this the best looking convertible on sale, or would you rather have something like a Porsche 911 Turbo S Cabriolet? Let me know in the comments. At the other end of the spectrum, Volkswagen has just revealed a brand new car called the ID2 All. That's supposed to cost less than £22,000. That's about £17,000 less than the cheapest ID3 you can buy in the UK right now. That car costs almost £40,000. This new ID2 concept uses a version of the same MEB chassis as the ID3, but it has a new electric motor with 226 horsepower. That's 22 horsepower more than you get in the top spec Pro versions of the ID3. So it should be pretty nippy. Volkswagen also said the ID2 will have around 280 miles of range, which is slightly more than an entry-level ID3. The ID2's design is also supposed to show what future Volkswagen cars will look like, although I reckon it actually looks very similar to an older Golf or a Polo, which is not very futuristic now, is it? Anyhow, at least the interior looks bang up to date. It's definitely given me Tesla Model 3 vibes with that massive landscape touchscreen. When you consider the stats, it's a bit insane to think that VW is able to do the ID2 for £22,000. But do you know what? They're actually claiming there's going to be an even cheaper EV that'll cost even less than the ID2. No prizes for guessing what it will be called? Yes, it's going to definitely be the ID1, isn't it? And this is set to arrive sometime after 2025, and it could cost as little as £17,000, though I'll believe it when I see it. At the other end of the spectrum, Lamborghini is working on a replacement for the iconic Aventador, and it's codenamed the LB744. I've already seen photos of prototypes being tested, so I know it'll look very similar to this exclusive render. But Lamborghini has just confirmed plenty of official details about this new car, and the best bit relates to the engine. This next generation supercar will get a naturally aspirated 6.5 litre V12 with 825 horsepower. Oh yes, there is no downsizing here. It'll also come with a new hybrid system, but this isn't designed to boost efficiency like in most hybrids. It's all about performance. As a result, there are two motors driving the front wheels, and there's another motor at the back to help the engine drive the rear wheels. Now this setup is very similar to that used in the four-wheel drive Ferrari SF90, and it means the new Lambo has more power than any other car Lamborghini has ever built. It cranks out a combined 1,015 horsepower, which is almost 200 horsepower more than you got in the Cyan or the new Countach. The new car also has a dual clutch automatic gearbox instead of the old-fashioned robotised manual like in the old Aventador. So it should launch even better than that car too. Here's an Aventador launching just for good measure. Whoa, the gear changes. Hot! Brutal, isn't it? Anyhow, Lambo's new flagship also has a chassis made out of carbon fibre and less aluminium than the old Aventador. This helps make it lighter, stiffer, and also safer in a crash. Lamborghini is expected to show off the whole car very, very soon. So make sure you subscribe to this channel and turn on your notifications by hitting the bell icon. That way you won't miss when I upload that video about the all-new Aventador replacement. Ford has just revealed an all-new electric SUV called the Explorer. You can already buy a full-sized Explorer in the USA, although that car comes with a regular petrol engine. This brand new Explorer is completely different. It's actually based on the same MEB platform as the Volkswagen ID4. Huh? What? So Ford has got into bed with Volkswagen? Who knew? Anyhow, this new Ford looks boxier than that car though, especially from the side, and I reckon the front end is a lot more eye-catching. It looks more interesting than the ID4 on the inside too. Just check out the massive 15-inch portrait infotainment screen. It's huge! Ford hasn't confirmed many details about the performance of this new Explorer, but it has said you'll be able to get it with a single motor or dual motors. These will come with rear-wheel drive or all-wheel drive respectively, just like the Volkswagen ID4. Entry-level versions of the new Ford Explorer are expected to get around 150 horsepower, while top specification cars could have 300 horsepower, just like the Volkswagen ID4 GTX. I still can't get over the fact that Volkswagen and Ford are working together to produce a car. Well, not working together. Ford's basically bought some bits off Volkswagen, haven't they? BMW has just confirmed that it'll launch an all-new 5 Series in October 2023, and you'll be able to get it as a fully electric i5 for the first time ever. This will also come as an i5 Touring Estate, and it's set to arrive in spring 2024. BMW has also confirmed that the new i5 will spawn an M Performance model. This isn't going to be a full-fat M car, it'll be an M light car, a bit like the i4 M50, but BMW is also working on a proper M5 version of this new generation of 5 Series. This is expected to get the hybrid system from the XM. This means it could have around 650 horsepower as standard or up to 750 horsepower in top specification, competition or CS versions. There's also the chance that you'll be able to get this new M5 as a touring. After all, BMW has just released an estate version for the M3 for the very first time. This futuristic looking thing is the Kia EV9. It's the most upmarket Kia I have ever seen, and I reckon it could be one of the coolest electric cars coming this year. Don't worry, it isn't just an electric version of the Kia Sorento. It's a brand new pure electric car that's actually based on the same chassis as the Kia EV6. It looks completely different from that car though. It's a similar size to a Tesla Model X, but it looks like a proper 4x4, not a giant egg on wheels. Anyhow, the flat roof and the blackened out windscreen pillars look like they've come from a Land Rover Defender, but the angular creases and boxy wheel arches remind me of the Lamborghini Urus. Lambo vibes on a Kia? Who saw that coming? Okay, so that's where the Urus similarities end. But you can't complain about the rest of the EV9's design. There's no stupid fake grille like you get on something like the BMW iX. And the zigzag daytime running lights feel like they belong on a new Polestar. I really like the brake lights too. They look like neon strips shining through stacks of futuristic machinery. Unfortunately, the Kia EV9 doesn't look quite so wild on the inside. It's actually pretty similar to the cabin you get in the EV6. But there is one very big difference between these cars. The EV9 has 3 rows of seats, and you can get it with either 6 or 7 seats instead of 5 seats like in the EV6. The second 2 rows can recline their seats flat too, and the second row can spin around to face the passengers sitting in the very back. Kia hasn't confirmed any details about the EV9's motor motors or batteries yet, but it'll probably come with some parts from the EV6. This means the EV9 range might kick off with a 78 kilowatt-hour battery. That's the same size you get in the longest range versions of the Kia EV6, and those cars come with 328 miles of claimed range, although Kia is reportedly aiming for around 340 miles of range with its new EV9, so there's a chance it might come with an even bigger battery. But what about performance? Well, entry-level versions are expected to get a single motor and rear-wheel drive, and they'll probably have around 230 horsepower. That's the same as the entry-level EV6. Higher specification cars could get four-wheel drive thanks to a pair of electric motors, and if these are shared with the EV6, they should make a combined 325 horsepower. Kia might also fit this SUV with the 585 horsepower dual motors from the EV6 GT. That will give it as much power as a Mercedes-AMG G63. How much will this new EV9 cost though? Well, don't expect to get much change from £60,000, and that's for the entry-level car.